Hello and welcome to episode 20 of season 2. We're almost there. We almost made it. I'm Nate Roberts.
And I am Rodney Godek. Cheers, brother.
Cheers. Um, so we're doing something a little special tonight. We're going to be doing a holiday episode of sorts. We're going to talk about Thanksgiving. We're going to talk about the year so far. Um, and some other things, some nice things, some not so nice things. I've got a good feeling about tonight.
I think that is going to be fun. The only hesitancy I have is with my connectivity and things. With our there's a new setup that I have. I'm still working out bugs, and so you'll just have to respond to me live if you see any issues because I've already got latency things on my end as far as not being able to see you talking the way I normally do. So we'll figure that out. Just give me a heads up. So
Yeah,
yeah, I was looking forward to tonight. We were kind of not scrambling per se, but oh, the year was so flooded with high rates of releases. Every week there was practically a new release, a lot of well-known IPs, always something to watch. And it's now starting to trickle a little bit as we get into the winter months. Some things that have been committed for next year, a couple holiday releases, which we'll be getting to. But it's a lull right now, and we had some movies we wanted to talk about. And what we decided was we'd abbreviate it and have more of a free form Thanksgiving celebratory episode with short reviews about the movies that we did watch this week. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I agree. So I'm gonna go first, and we'll just get these reviews out of the way so we can get into the meat of the episode. Um,
Sure.
as you may have already gleaned, as the listener, um, we were not very excited after watching these films about this episode. So, without further ado, let's take it over to the website for Chuyen Ma Gan Na, the Vietnamese horror story.
Gesundheit.
The film has dark, demonic colors with material from everyday life. The culture and beliefs, customs, and habits of the Vietnamese people will be a highlight in this work. Besides the
Ooh.
horror, dot, 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 besides the horror scenes. Okay. Uh, I'm going to guess that that was written in Vietnamese and translated by an English speaking moron. So, what we have here, Vietnamese Horror Story, is an anthology film. Three stories interconnected, not really, very loosely physically, like they kind of pass from one story to another, almost like they're in the same city. Um, but they're also all kind of be careful what you wish for stories.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, each one of them, the protagonist is trying to do something, fantastic with their life, and they might make a sacrifice to do so, and then it ends up, you know, biting them in the ass, which is, the story of any kind of genie, or it's where the saying comes from. So what I saw here was, it's foreign, so you never know if the acting is good, but it seemed good, especially the first story. In fact, the first story is actually pretty good. It goes downhill from there rather rapidly. Um, Bad CG, bad effects, no atmosphere at all. It kind of is just uh, like they were trying to mimic the Japanese horror style of
Yeah.
very slow, intense, eerie, and then a jarring, like shocking sound with some kind of grotesque, not never a creature, always like a human, transposed or something like just strange, very strange visuals. Um, and then it cuts away real quick, and then it's gone, right? It's just like a flash, and it kind of screams at you. They
Yeah,
were also all ghost stories, which is
yeah.
another thing that's big in Japanese horror. It's all paranormal. It's all ghost. Not a lot of monsters. Um,
Sure. And so this was like, was it anthology, like in the way that the VHSs were, which we just recently talked about?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it was
Like
three.
where it just cut to the new show.
Yeah, except it kind of panned, like all these took the stories take place in the same city. So like when you saw the last
Okay, yeah,
person
yeah, yeah.
like walking down the sidewalk, and then it pans over to
Sure.
these two people arguing, and then it follows them into the next story. Um, yeah. So the first
Okay.
story was like a woman who wanted to become an actress, and she moved in with a famous actress to be like her apprentice, and that story was pretty good. And then the second story was a kid who wanted to be a magician, and then the third story I can barely remember. So anyway, I give Vietnamese Horror Story a 2 out of 10 for the first story being pretty good. A absolute
Uh,
pass.
well, I'm glad that I was spared that experience. So let me jump into the movie that I had watched. We kind of watched these. We each picked a movie and started watching it, and we were gonna watch the second one. But then once we each had informed, like, we kind of were both hesitant to waste another hour half of each other's time. So, fortunately for me, you watched the longer runtime. So, I watched Deep Fear, a recent acquisition for Screambox, of which I signed up for the free 7-day trial when we reviewed last week's episode, right? Or
Yeah,
did I? What were
for
we watching last week?
all jacked up and full of worms.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which sidebar? The lead in that, I can't remember the gentleman's name. The actor.
Benny or
He
the
was
other
also
guy?
Benny, but no, Benny was the weird white guy. The other guy, the black dude.
Yeah.
He was in a film that I just watched that I've been meaning to watch by Riley Stearns called The Art of Self-Defense, a dark comedy, and it's amazing. I watched that because I was into him. I follow him on Twitter, but he made which is now streaming on Hulu, Duel, which stars Karen Gillan and Aaron
Oh,
Paul from Breaking Bad fame.
right.
And it's a very specific kind of humor, but if you're into it, it's extremely well executed and it's a riot. You're sort of like laughing in disbelief. There's very awkward exchanges between the characters. The dialogue is very random and weird, and I think it's just this. It's the director and writer Riley Stearns' kind of mannerisms and the way that he is. He kind of acts this way. Anyways, Art of Self Defense. The guy from All Jacked Up and Full of Worms has a character in the Art of Self Defense, and I saw him and I was like, oh, that's the guy. How insanely coincidental was that? It was fantastic. So
Duel
that's
was
the
also very good.
yes, Duel is great,
I love
and
Duel.
Art of Self Defense is leaving Hulu as Duel is just now entering Hulu. So please watch both. So back to the point of it. Screenbox. I canceled the subscription. Tomorrow is going to be the seventh day. So thank God. Deep Fear. Paris. The 80s. Three students decide to celebrate their graduation with a visit to the Paris catacombs. When they discover the legendary 717 bunker, little do they know, it's not the only thing Nazi soldiers have left behind them. So here's the thing. I didn't read this. I didn't know anything about it. And it would have immediately turned me off because it just sounds so cheesy and stupid. And I would have been right. Uh, Screambox or US distribution has masked the absurdity of the foreign film. This is French, I believe. Um, Paris, obviously. Uh, the their stuff is just 717 bunker and it's got the zombie Nazi on the cover with swastikas and it's like okay I can see why they didn't want to release that like that in the US but also why get the film in, at all because it's not good. So um this is done before. Everything in this film, there's nothing unique about this, and nothing that happens in this film is going to be executed in a level that makes it worthwhile in any way, shape, or form. There's no coherent plot or story. It does follow a narrative, but it's almost as if they were like, we're going to make a movie that's about exploring the catacombs, And yeah, there's gonna be Nazis in there because they would have been underground in Paris whenever World War II was going on. What if one of them was still around? Because we haven't explored all the catacombs. But that's it. We're just gonna shoot film that has that stuff in it, but no coherent from A to Z during the whole movie. So it's very frustrating because there's things introduced during this movie that never pay off or never explained or never mean anything. It's just there. And so um, it has a couple neat elements. Like it does feel a lot like The Descent because when they're in the catacombs to get from one passage to the next, they have to traverse like a entry or a portal that's more or less the size of a average size person. Excuse me. I'm feeling a lot better, but there's still like some lingering cough. Uh, so those scenes were really intense and great because you're like stressed out. Because I mean, I'm not claustrophobic, but I would definitely not be the kind of person to crawl through a hole that's only big enough for me because I would hyperventilate probably and have a panic attack. So those
Yeah.
scenes are nice, and it's heightened because like the metro is around, so like the things are shaking, and it's like, oh, this tunnel, we dug this tunnel, and it could collapse at any moment. This isn't an official thing, so like there's anxiety there, and those scenes are good. But everything else about the story doesn't make sense. These people are more or less, we're gonna go away to school, so let's do a fun adventure. A girl contacts her drug dealer, and he's like, I got the coolest thing. We're doing catacombs. And they're kind of making fun of him, like, because he calls himself a cataphile, and they've got a catamap, and like the one guy is making fun of him, like how douchey it sounds, and it is, admittedly. But they get down there, it's kind of cool. There's other people that are into it, and then they explore this unknown zone, and the movie opens with one person down there tagging, and a creature. You see a POV of like a creature slinking about, and then the guy disappears and goes away. You kind of find out one of the people that's part of this catacombed group, his her brother disappeared 2 years ago because that happened in like 79 and now it's 81. The time period also doesn't mean a fucking thing aside from the fact that there's Nazis. So this might have been like when skinheads were cool and like metal or hard edge punk, like the look of it was like in vogue in a sense, or like American History X type shit was going on. Just the same bullshit, but like it had an aesthetic that people were into, so you couldn't really tell like are they skinheads or is it just they want to adopt the fashion and it sort of is related to like alternative punk rock and shit like that. There's skinhead characters that are in the that are accosting the catacombers. So like there's sort of like a mulligan because it's like, oh, these are the bad guys, and there's gonna be like just like a an altercation between two normal people in a weird environment, and they escape and this like and that. But then they escape them and they get into this Nazi bunker and see all the Nazi stuff. Oh, and then come to find out he's been doing drugs and is eating people to stay alive. He's speaking German. You don't know what he's saying. They don't subtitle it. And so now it's a cat and mouse because he's chasing them down because he wants to eat them for whatever reason and defend his bunker, or the war's still going on and who knows what. There's a zombie dog. That's what killed the guy at the beginning of the movie, but they never. You see the zombie dog in the hallway and it's a shitty CGI zombie dog, like Resident Evil 1 PlayStation zombie dog. And and then you never see it again. It's just gone. Like he whistles and he says something in German, and that's it. The zombie dog's gone. So the whole impetus of the beginning of the movie is just we're done with that. More cat and mouse. Like, and there's now the one thing that this movie's going to get a 4 out of 10, and that seems generous, but it's not awful. It's watchable. It just doesn't do anything. It's laughable at moments and it's okay in some moments, but there is some good practical effects. Some of the deaths are people get mangled, like the zombie dog eats a guy's foot. There's a foot that's missing. It looks really good, practical. The one girl whose brother went missing, she dies first. Her arm is like all gone and it's very grotesque. That looks good, but it just doesn't do anything. So cat and mouse by the time they've run away. And like the cover is the end scene of the movie, which is so fucking stupid that people still do that. Where she like finally is gonna escape because someone sacrificed themselves to delay the zombie Nazi SS guy. She climbs the sewer to get to the grate, but it's welded shut, which they mentioned earlier. So you knew it was going to be happening. She gets up to it and then she's like, "Help, help!" And no one's helping because they can't hear her or don't want to because it's in Paris and no one cares. And she gets snatched back down from like this is like a 20 or 30 foot sewer drain thing. She climbs it, so somehow I guess the Nazi guy climbed it up and pulled her down and cut to credits. So just nothing, no purpose to anything. None of it makes sense. There's no point. Like, what's the point? Like the missing brother, the fact that they're going to school and they want one last hurrah. The skinheads just end up getting dispatched by the Nazis. I guess that's kind of a fun part. Like the Nazi skinheads find the catacombers, and the Nazi skinheads are like gonna like fucking get them, and then the SS zombie guy comes by, and they're like, "Oh shit, that's our fucking guy," and they're seek hailing him, and he comes up and he just fucking like goes right through them and is like kills them, and so that's satisfying in some way because it's like they thought he was one of them,
Right.
but not so much because he's an undead Nazi, not a normal real life skinhead Nazi
Yeah, not
sympathizer.
the good kind.
Like you like.
He's not the
It
good
was just fucking
Nazi.
stupid. Like, what's the point of this movie? It makes no point. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't do anything. It's just like Nazis, catacombs. Let's make a movie.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's it. If you want a movie that has feels like this, I would recommend As Above, So Below. Um, so a 4 out of 10. It is not good. I'm being very generous with the four, just because of the practical effects and the
Yeah.
fact that it was watchable.
And if you want to watch a Nazi zombie movie, just watch Dead Snow. It's the only one that's good. It's They don't need to make any more Nazi zombie movies because Dead Snow exists and because it's so
Yeah,
good. There's
this
literally no
movie came out
reason.
this year.
Yeah,
Why would this movie get made?
exactly. Sounds like your movie was
So
more fun than mine, though. Mine was really serious.
yeah, I agree. It does sound like mine was more fun. Uh, so sorry.
That's okay. You'll just have to
I
watch
mean, I'm definitely
Vietnam.
hyping it up. I'm
Yeah,
really
yeah,
like
sure.
I'm selling it. They should be paying me for this fucking advert because
Yeah. Oh, speaking of being paid, sponsored by Bubbly.
Michael Bublé,
Uh,
Robert Goulet. Yeah, so you're having bubbly. I'm having a an old fashioned
Oh,
because when it's Thanksgiving time, it's
yeah.
Santori
It's
times.
Censor. All right, review's over. So let's talk about what we're thankful for, Rod. I'm gonna start with the podcast.
Oh yeah.
I think season two, compared to season one, great success. Um, we've worked out the kinks. The format is a little more streamlined now. We actually have some subscribers versus last year
Hmm.
where we had like almost none, and we just kind of powered through because we're like we just gotta make the content.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm thankful for the podcast, and which leads me to you, Rod. I'm thankful for you because I couldn't do this without you, and yeah, I'm glad you're here with me tonight.
Oh, thanks, man. I feel the same. Look, I was gonna say the same. I'm thankful that we're doing this. It's a lot of our spare time, which is, few and far between moments that we get it. We do dedicate time watching films and then, figuring out how we want to talk about it and things like that. So, it's time well spent because, getting to bullshit with you about it and producing content for people to maybe be entertained by it. If they are, if one person's entertained by it, great. If more are, even better. But we do it because we enjoy watching and then talking about it, and so I'm definitely thankful for all of that the same, and I appreciate you, brother. It's a lot of fun. I can't imagine doing it with anyone else. So the only other thing I'd be thankful for is, horror seems to be a genre that
Well,
is just getting better. This year has been
2022,
amazing.
2022 is the year of the horror film.
Yeah.
Forget the rabbit or the fucking goat or whatever it is this year. It's the year of the horror film.
You can't let the Asian references go. You just there's someone lying to you right now. See how many
Yeah.
digs I can get on I thought we were stopping Asian
Is
hate,
there
man.
is there a Vietnamese calendar? Because whatever year it is on their calendar, fuck that year. So
Oh man. Yeah, there's been some fucking bangers. Now here's the thing. We're gonna be
bangers.
we're gonna be doing our top five year end very soon.
Yes.
I will say there are standouts. There's not there's only a couple that are like absolute near and dear to my heart from this year. And I think that that's a good thing, really, because you can't expect so many to land. But a lot of the ones that are like were anticipated this year, because they were existing intellectual properties that or franchises were fine. They weren't like blowing my socks off type movies. And so while I think it was a heavily flooded year and there's a lot to be thankful for with what was being made, they were good and serviceable, but nothing was really like taking it to the next level as much. It was not as much. Or the way it was taking it to the next level just didn't land for me. You know, people are they can't get Ty West's dick out of their mouths. Pearl is like the darling of this year, and I mean it's just, it who and Mia Goth, and it's just it didn't land for me.
No, Pearl was not good. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for whoever needs to hear that. It has to be said.
It's I mean it's I go between whenever we have feelings like that seem to be so uh contrarian to the general populace and probably the majority opinion. Like we're the dissenting opinion here. We are we're saying abortion's okay if we're the Supreme Court. And we're right. But
But
the court has decided Ty West and Pearl are awesome. Uh, and it feels weird to be in that situation. Uh, everyone can feel their own way, but I just feel so strongly, at least in this regard. And I'm not putting Ty West on blast. It's a good
no,
movie.
no,
It's
it
fine,
was
but people are choking on it. I
yeah.
can't.
Sorry. It doesn't crack my top five. It wouldn't crack my top 20. Um, Not for 2022. Too many good movies.
Yes.
It's too so many breakout first features that were home runs. I'm gonna give them more
Yeah.
credit. I'm gonna give them more credit than I give Pearl. I have to. Like
Yeah.
it's
Absolutely.
yeah, it's a seven, but it was your first outing. I mean, that has to be say something.
Oh, for
Um,
sure. And whenever you're coming up with a creative new movie. Now, Pearl obviously was new and creative, at least expanding upon X, but um, I think it was that was him more so striking when the iron was hot with the availability of being funded to do a pet project. And he just like, you know, and wanted to do something that was a period piece of sorts or shot as if it were made in a certain era. But yeah, there's so many unique new stories that were made that were for us. I think there's plenty of sixes, but there were sevens and some eights in there that were unique new tales that were being told that aren't going to be in our top five, but are all worth watching. And I would recommend it, and I would support someone seeing it, and I would rewatch it for the most part if I had the chance to.
Yeah, I think what was my highest rated um, first feature I think was Sissy.
Yeah,
Um,
Sissy was great. Sissy
Sissy
came
was
out not long ago. We did it a couple weeks ago.
yeah, Sissy was a great movie,
Uh,
and for to be like so new in someone's career like that. That movie had everything. It had polish. It had the effects. It had the story. It had it all. Um,
yeah, yeah, unique take, twists, some things that were predictable but still kept you entertained and on your
yeah.
toes, and embraced some of the madness that it was doing. That's the thing. A lot of films, they like flirt with absurdity or insane things. It's like, but they play it too safe and they don't just go all in on it. That reminds me of one film I think we did at the beginning of this year or end of last year, Superhost. where the
Super Siblings.
couple are web streamers, which again is a trope that's been done to death at this point, but where they go to Airbnbs, review it, and then do YouTube videos. And so they go to this new one, and there's this weird host that's like going out of her way to try to make sure they have a good stay, and she seems sort of like her off the hinges, and it kind of leads into chaos when the host becomes this maniacal character, and that's when the movie shines. They just held back on that for too long to hook you. Once she started acting really insane, it got very engaging and very good because she was the star. The two leads that were the YouTubers were not. So it's like that
Yeah.
movie could have been fantastic had they embraced the crazy early on. And I think that's what this year is a highlight, an example of the movies that separated them as better were the ones that just went all in. You know, the way that Fresh went all in, the way that Barbarian went all in, Sissy went all in. It gets into it and it just plays with it, and
Yeah.
it's weird and it doesn't make sense and it's odd, but
Yeah.
that's what's intriguing about it because it's different and new. You're not
Yeah.
used to it.
I think that's my favorite thing about Barbarian and the other two movies you just mentioned is that it creates this world, says these are the rules, and it just plays in that world. And the rules are laid out for you, and more rules might be added as you watch and you get deeper into the film, but it doesn't break the rules once it sets them up. Like the
Yeah.
the the madness of Barbarian with that crazed the mother, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and she never like settles down, right? Like she has to act a certain way, and she delivers in every scene that she's in.
Yeah. When I rewatched it with Sarah, by the end of it, I was really sad for her. I very much
Right?
sympathized with her because she's very much an innocent of the movie. She's a vehicle for destruction, but it only comes from love, and she doesn't know any better
Right.
because of how she was
She was raised
raised.
she was raised by
Nature versus nurture type thing.
she was raised by a breastfeeding video.
Yeah, well, in a serial rapist.
Yeah.
So like in a underground.
Yeah.
So, picture Gollum with.
Right.
And by the way, speaking of Gollum, that's the segue. I This is something I'm not thankful for, Nate. I continually misplace things. I have something and I put it somewhere. And it's an important thing, and you would think I'm going to put it somewhere I'll remember.
Hmm.
And I can't count. I don't probably want to know how many hours, and I'm like, or days at this point of my life I've wasted looking for something that I should know where it is or whatever. In this last episode, or last week, Christ, I was looking for some screws for this appliance that I was repairing, and I don't know where I put them. And I was looking for hours, dude. And I was just thinking, like, how upset I am mentally that I can't find what I lost. And I'm just thinking how distraught Gollum would have been losing the fucking one ring. Like the most amazing item you can ever imagine that he had for
500 years.
decades or centuries.
500 years.
And then he loses it. He'd be out of his fucking mind. Are you kidding me? I can't imagine. It's totally warranted. Anything bad that he did, I get it. Wow. So, anyways,
Anyways,
uh,
Superhost alongside Studio 666, episode 16 of season 1.
oh, cool.
If you want to go back and check that out. Okay, on the other end of the spectrum from movies like Sissy and Barbarian, Hellbender this year. Um,
Yeah.
the most indie of the indies, I think, that we watched.
Uh,
It was
yeah. Well, I mean, that we enjoyed that we watched. I mean, I would say,
right, right.
Scary 61st, World's Fair, very indie of indies, but very garbage of garbage.
Yes. But Hellbender, we really liked. It's written and directed by the Addams Family, starring the Addams Family. I even have the soundtrack on vinyl. Uh, so, if you're watching rock and roll, you guys
Yeah.
are awesome.
Yeah, it
Um,
was earlier in the year.
yeah, yeah, it was. Episode
It's a
15, it
good
was
movie.
actually.
It's different. It has a unique way of doing storytelling. The imagery is pretty cool. It's a coming of age type story. it was very enjoyable.
Yeah,
I think it was even set in the Northeast, if not upstate New York. Um, Witchy
probably.
horror was a big thing this year, dude.
A
If
lot of
you were a fan of witches or folk horror, this was a good year.
so much folk horror this year. Uh, Hellbender, You Won't Be Alone, Hatching. Um, there was another one.
Yeah,
Uh,
what's it called? The you can't you're not my
You're Not My
mother.
Mother. You're Not My
Yeah.
Mother.
Yeah,
uh,
arguably men sort of
yeah,
a
yeah. I'd put Men on that list.
yeah.
Um,
And then where's the rest of my list there?
for folk
No, not
horror.
that one. Slapface is sort of like that.
Sure, sure.
The cursed
The
almost. I mean,
Cursed.
it's
That was
werewolf, but it's
that was our first review of 2022. Was The Cursed.
it was the very first. It was released in theaters.
Yeah.
And it was a new werewolf movie that just like popped out of wherever, had like no publicity, and it's a very serviceable werewolf movie. Werewolf
Oh,
movies are not always great.
and
This was better than average.
we did it with All the Moons, which is also definitely folk
Yeah,
horror.
another folk.
But
Yes.
yeah,
It just
definitely.
wasn't that one wasn't, I don't think, this year. I think that one was a little bit
Oh, it might
older.
have been a
But still,
2021. Yeah.
yeah, but also, yeah, great. I mean, how a very if that's your jam, folk horror, this year had a lot to offer you. I'm just looking
Yeah.
at my list to see if we had missed anything. Um,
I'm definitely gonna
man,
say again, watch Hatching if you haven't. Definitely get right into that movie.
yeah, I don't think that there was much else. So Scary of
That's
61st, I gave a
plenty.
1 to. That's funny.
Scary of 61st, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love how that girl was
It
in
looks so
all
great. I'm
all
like,
the
dude,
worst.
I was like, can she be in a film where she's not like her only purpose is to like have sex with another character? Like she like
Well,
it's like I can't pay attention.
it's early in her career. It's just
Yeah.
it's how
She's got a rider. She's like, I have to be in a film where I'm getting finger banged by somebody.
yeah.
Okay, weirdo.
Preferably a woman with a mullet. Okay. Uh,
Who has a fixation on Jeffrey fucking Epstein
yeah.
and wants that to carry her movie because she can't write for shit.
All right. So we talked about big budget. We talked about indie. Foreign was also huge this year. I think the tops for me in foreign was The Innocents,
Hmm?
and I'm gonna say Hatching again.
Yeah.
But
Let's throw
you won't
the
be
sadness in
alone.
there.
The sadness. Oh, the sadness was epic.
It's
Uh,
easy to dismiss the sadness because it is so like craze balls. Like it's just
yeah.
it's you know, its own thing. It's almost as if it's not a snuff film, but it's just so over the
It's just
top
so over the top.
that
I mean, I've watched that opening scene, I think like 10 times, just showing a friend. Like, I'm like, you gotta
yeah.
watch the sadness. Here, let me show you this like 30-second clip of this
Well, like where they
disgusting,
where it
where
comes out at the restaurant.
at the restaurant where the
Yeah.
grandma zombie like grabs the fryer and bashes the guy's face in with it. Oh, they're hooked. Like those people go home
Yeah.
and watch the movie immediately, and then tell me that I'm disgusting.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah. The dude in the basketball court getting his
yeah.
nuts smashed against barbed wire.
And then the hero stops him and he goes, "Why'd you do that? I was about to come." And you're just like, "What the fuck am I watching?"
So fucking wrong. But
Okay.
they knew what they were doing. Again, the crazy. They knew what they were
They knew what
doing.
they were
That
doing.
was the whole point, and they didn't shy away from
No.
the taboo.
There was
uh,
they left nothing to the imagination in this movie. You saw it all. Um, so some more foreign. We had Piggy. We had Watcher.
mm.
Um, we had. Is that it? That might have been it.
Oh no, I'm sure that's not it.
Uh,
Yeah, that
some
doesn't
like
really
it
count.
rare. Some like it rare.
Yeah, that was a recent
Um,
fun one.
Deep Fear, of course.
I'll mention. all my friends hate me because I enjoyed it, but
All
you
my
know,
friends hate me. Yes, I
it's
was
a
going.
certain
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
sounds good. Yeah, I was going more
Yeah, no,
for
I think that that might be it.
subtitled, but because
Oh, subtitled. Yeah,
if you want
that's
to, if you
fair.
want to just do,
English.
if you want to just do,
They're foreigners. Some Brit comes into the country. We're not looking at him like a normal person.
if you want to just do
No,
foreign,
no offense.
we also have what is it? Man,
What?
I feel like we just if you wanted to just do foreign, we just watched it was
What, a recent review?
Let the Wrong One In.
Oh, ugh.
And technically You're Not My Mother I think was
Uh,
Irish.
Speak No Evil
Speak No Evil.
came out.
Oh, that
Yeah,
was I really liked that movie too.
it was good, but it was just, it wavered on that line. Like, do you suspend disbelief or do you not? And I
Do
think
you
it
not?
polarized a lot
Yeah.
of people because it's like, no, this is stupid. No one would do this. But they hated that because they couldn't let go and just go with the characters. And then I watched the remake of Goodnight Mommy, which was American, but the original, which is the one that you should be watching, is fantastic. This
Yeah.
remake I gave a 4 out of 10. The original is like a eight or
It's
eight.
not good. It's not good. Uh, uh, After foreign, I mean, what else do we have? We have a bunch of stinkers. We can talk about the stinkers.
Well, I mean, yeah, things that should have been, could have been,
Could have been, should have
but
been.
weren't. They slash them. Kevin Bacon, Camp Crystal Lake all over again. But this time it's gonna do an LGBTQ plus rehabilitation camp, and it's not gonna do anything interesting with the story.
Yeah.
So
Halloween
let go.
ends. Halloween ends. Cool. Michael Myers movie. Did you plan on casting Michael Myers in this Michael Myers movie? No. No. Okay.
Just me. Yeah, man.
How about Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Which actually we kind of liked it for its
I did
gore.
out of 5 with it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was entertaining. It was stupid as
it was
fuck.
yeah, it was popcorn horror, but
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
okay. Firestarter remake this year.
Oh, big bomb. Yeah,
Big bum.
Firestarter was awful. Everyone agrees that that was
Oh,
not a
that movie
good
was
movie.
terrible. The Jeepers Creepers 3, which at this moment has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I have not watched it yet. So I don't think I'm gonna watch it.
I've seen clips and they do not look good.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I probably will not be watching it. What they did with the character design of the creature is not nice. I think part of it is the movie, and the other part of it is a certain group of critics that would just want to hate it because of the origin of the IP,
Right,
and they
right.
can't dissociate one from the other, and that's valid if that's
Sure.
if that's your thing. The same way that people aren't into Woody Allen or Roman Polanski, there's still or Harvey Weinstein produced movies. Like, look, you're gonna fucking see Weinstein Company on a lot of movies if you go back and watch them that are nice movies that you can definitely get behind. And so it's a matter of if you can let that go or not,
Sure.
uh, which is hard. Everyone has their own barometer, and that's a personal decision. So, Dark Glasses, Argento,
Uh,
still making movies.
so yeah,
Still, yeah.
it was okay. Did anyone watch Day Shift? I actually watched this one. We didn't review it though. This was
I watched half of it and I was like, yeah, it's not getting good. It's not getting
yeah.
better.
I
I'm just gonna
kept
stop.
I stayed in all the way to the end because I was like, it's gotta get better. Like I think Dave Franco had one good joke, and the
Right.
rest of the movie was like terrible, just
Yeah.
terrible.
It's just dumb. Like it was just so polished and overproduced and but
Yeah,
watered down and bland.
it had this the CG was thrown at your face with the fierce like the ferocity of a Marvel movie, and you're just like,
Yeah.
this is supposed to be horror.
Yeah.
What is happening?
It's like you're gonna get jump cuts, CG, gun fu with
Yeah.
zombie vampire-esque type things, and it's gonna like it was just it's too much. There's no subtlety with that movie. It was like
Yeah.
a fucking Michael Bay type movie.
Yeah, Michael Bay's vampires. Orphan First Kill. Oh, oh, what a stinker, man. And I wanted this to be so
Yeah.
good. I wanted it to be so good. And I love Isabel Furman, and I'm so sorry. Um, I
But
wanted to
this is
like
so
it.
bizarre because I think what pull it up on IMDb. Uh, I think most people liked this
Oh,
movie.
it's a
It's not
70.
to the level.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
It's 72% fresh and 63% audience on
Okay.
which is average. Well, it's a little above average actually for horror, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's 63 for audience on Rotten Tomatoes. I think is
it's a popcorn.
fair. Yeah,
It's
it's a
not a
little bit better than
buffet.
average,
Yeah.
but it's not as long as it's not an overwhelming majority. It's just that it was so heavy-handed on Twitter as far as like really sucking it off and saying how great it was. And I get that, she did a good job at doing the character. It's just wasn't written well and the the plot line was kind of dumb and it's like what could have been sounded more interesting than what it was.
My
And
yeah, my biggest issue with it was the story of Orphan First Kill was the story that was revealed to be her backstory in Orphan. So we already
yeah,
knew the story. Why didn't she show us something else? Like, does she really
yeah,
go from the Orphan First Kill house to the second house? She doesn't do a couple other houses on the way. Like, there isn't more to her life. It's just these two houses she happened to do.
yeah,
The first movie and the prequel. I don't know. They could have just picked a house, wrote a story. Come on.
yeah. It's all very odd. Yeah, well, look, I mean, but in general, for the most part, everything that we did watch had some kind of redeeming quality, and the way that we were able to capture it and discuss it here, as shitty as some of it was still an enjoyable experience to take the time and to go through all the motions and in talking about it, and to do a public service for the community so that you do not have to suffer through some of the garbage and are even more aware of the good stuff so that you know what to look for, because horror is a genre that a lot of people don't enter because there is so much garbage. It's difficult and it's like it's different. It's not like watching a fucking action or a drama where it's like you can forgive a lot of certain things. Like horror, because it's kind of ridiculous premises, has to fire on all cylinders to capture a new viewer, and it's hard to find that. So I think that you need to help guide people to those films to help support the genre, um, strengthen it with viewership and everything else. So
Well said. And we love it, and that's why we're here. Um, so, it's the holiday season. Thanksgiving is
do do do
2 days
do
away, and
do.
wanted to talk about some holiday movies. We're going to start with some Thanksgiving themed movies that we did or didn't enjoy. Um, I don't know if you've seen this one, Rodney, but did you ever get a chance to see Poultry Guy?
No, I saw clips of it and I just like know that I won't like it and I didn't really
Yeah,
want to watch it for the kitschiness of it.
yeah.
Just
It,
camp.
it's pretty much just camp, and you
Yeah.
also kind of have to be into musicals. Uh, like I wouldn't if you can't do that.
If you can't stomach that, it's not going to be for
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Well,
definitely
that's the
not.
thing. Like, that's the one thing about horror is like there's a group of people that are into like really dumb shit that will have fun with stuff like that. Are you going to mention the other one that has a couple films to its name?
I am, I am.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving
Yeah.
3, which there is no 2, it's just Thanksgiving 3. Now I haven't seen Thanksgiving 3, but I really, really enjoyed Thanksgiving. And Thanksgiving is one of those campy, fun movies that I think you can watch.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
watchable.
yeah.
It's stupid. But you're not gonna, you'll roll your eyes, but you also kind of chuckle and laugh at how dumb it is.
Oh yeah.
It's sort of in the same vein as like, Ginger Dead Man.
Yeah. Evil Bong.
and the Frosty one,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Jack Frost. That's a good one.
Jack Frost, right? So,
Shannon
uh,
Elizabeth's feature film. First feature.
so yeah, there's a couple other ones outside of those two. Do you have other ones that you want to mention?
I think I just wanted to drop there's a movie called Pilgrim
Yeah,
on Hulu, and I didn't see it, but I just read the synopsis of it today because I looked it up,
it
and
sounds.
it sounds
I did
pretty
too. It
good.
sounds fun.
It
Yeah,
sounds pretty
I
good.
kind of want to watch it.
Oh, and actually, there is one more I totally forgot about. And how could I forget? It stars Devon Sawa and Bruce Campbell.
Oh well, yeah,
Black Friday. This is a horror comedy that came out this year, or came out the end of last
last
year,
year.
end of
Yeah,
last year, and it was not good. Uh, but
it it was fun.
it
It was.
was,
It's not. It's what it was.
it,
There's good effects.
yes,
It's silly. It's not always comedically firing. The jokes
yeah,
don't always land,
yeah,
but there's some that do. Bruce Campbell has a couple good one-liners. Devon Sawa is kind of over the top and a bit much every now and then, but sometimes he's endearing
yeah,
and the heart of the movie. So I think it's fine. I think it's
yeah,
totally, if you want to get in the holiday spirit, that's a good one to
yeah.
watch this year.
Also, Michael J. White is in it, and he was pretty good. He's funny.
Yeah.
No, other than that, I have nothing for Thanksgiving. I think I'm ready for Christmas whenever you are.
Okay, the only other one I'll mention is Blood Freak, which is from '72 or
Oh,
something, I want to say. This one got brought onto my attention through Red Letter Media. They did like a best of the worst Halloween, or at some point they talked about this. It's more or less like an anti-drug messaging movie where this guy, like this druggy guy, somehow can't get drugs, and then he ends up getting into toxic waste or some biological testing, and he turns into like a turkey, but a human body with a turkey head, and now he
oh,
can't do drugs, and so the only way to satiate his hunger for drugs is by killing people that have taken drugs, and and then it goes from there. So it
the
sounds absurd and ridiculous, and it is, and it has some like fantastic oddness. There's definitely a trigger warning for actual killing of an actual turkey that's filmed, sort of in the
oh,
same vein as Cannibal Holocaust, but this wasn't an Italian movie, I don't think.
sure,
And so like they show it, and it's like if that's not gonna be something you can stomach, don't watch it. But uh, there's like director slash narrator takes moments, and like they're at a desk reading narration to the camera, but then there's cuts of them like coughing and wheezing, and they don't do a second take. Like it's just like as if I was talking and how I've been coughing earlier. Like they just leave it in, and it's part of the movie, and it seems so out of place and odd. It's a weird one, and I would recommend because it's just you can kind of like question what the fuck was going on in the '70s when you watch it, but
sure,
also enjoy some of the insanity of it. So yeah, let's get
Nice.
to the Christmas stuff.
All right, so we are going to review some Christmas movies later in the year, but we're just going to talk generally about some ones that we've seen in the past because we're not going to get a chance to actually review these movies. I'm going to start right
Oh,
off
hey,
with
real quick before we do that,
sure.
the other Thanksgiving movies for me, I do want to say like non-horror, like Planes, Trains, Automobiles.
Planes,
I
Trains,
will probably always
Automobiles.
watch. And also one for me is Dutch. Did you ever get a chance to see Dutch growing up?
Oh, I've seen Dutch. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ed
Dutch is
O'Neill.
also yes, uh, and that kid. But
Yeah.
that's also a great Thanksgiving movie. Those are two staples for me. And then if I were to say the other horror one that I enjoy that's related to Thanksgiving would be Adam's Family
Adam's
Values.
Family
Uh,
Values.
those have scenes in it that are great. The where they're on. Yeah, it's great. All right.
All
Yeah, let's
right.
get to the horror. The other one. Sorry.
So real quick, I'll just reference the Silent Night, Deadly Night from a couple episodes ago. I kind of went off about all five of the movies. How the first three are kind of like a trilogy, and then four and five are both one shots. And I believe that it's four
I think that's right.
That is the good one. It might be 5 because on Prime, when the picture for 4 plays the 5th movie, and the picture for 5 plays the 4th movie.
Not sure which one it is. It's the one with the lady sex cult, not the
Okay.
one about the toy makers.
Let me just type that into my search query. Lady
Lady,
sex cult movie.
yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So like has
Did you ever
has
watch Silent Night, Deadly Night? No, but I watched a bunch of other stuff.
has like one like 3 minute long scene that happens to take place on Christmas. Other than that, has nothing to do with Christmas or Santa Claus like the other four movies. But is really fucked up and way out there and a super good movie. I don't know how it got shoehorned into that series, but yeah, I would definitely watch that.
Shoehorn.
Yeah.
No one uses those anymore. Do they even still manufacture shoehorns? They
Uh,
must. I mean, old
well,
people are still around.
yeah, well, because of the the vernacular, I'm sure they have to. Otherwise, kids today won't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. We're alienating a small part of our audience, probably. I mean, they really seem to be a hindrance, you know?
Yeah.
Like I've tried to use one.
Oh,
Yeah. Jesus Christ, dude.
I don't know. All right. Actual Christmas movies. I was a big fan of pretty much all the Krampuses. Like every single Krampus they put out, I watched them all a couple of years ago, uh,
Mhm.
because it was like the Krampus fad, and I thought they were all good. But the best was A Christmas Horror Story. And if you have not seen this movie, you must see this movie. It's an anthology. Uh, the narrator is a drunk Bill Shatner as the radio DJ, something Dan, um, Disco Dan or something like that. And if you haven't seen it this holiday season, you must go watch A Christmas Horror Story.
Okay. I is it the rare exports one or is that a different one?
That is not the Rare Exports one. No.
Okay.
That one was good too. What
Yeah.
what was that one called?
Rare exports, a Christmas story or something like that, or something like that. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I
I know
remember.
you're.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah, the other one was not the other one, but the main one was the PG-13 one that actually had Adam Scott in it, which was a surprisingly good movie. Like I did
Yeah, I
not,
enjoyed that one.
yeah, I didn't give it a lot of points before I watched it, and it was good.
Yeah. What else do you have on the
Oh,
Christmas list?
for
Are these
Christmas,
the ones that you're into?
For Christmas, I also really enjoyed. Now, this is not really a Christmas movie. They're somehow they're they're classifying it. Did you watch The Lodge?
No.
So this is
Was that on Netflix?
I think it was Hulu.
Hulu.
It was a guy has his new girlfriend who maybe they're engaged. They bring he brings him or the father brings her and their kid or his kids to this lodge in the middle of nowhere, and he then has to go to work. And once he leaves, a blizzard hits, and so she's stuck there with the kids, and just weird stuff starts to happen.
Okay.
Excellent movie. Didn't predict the twist. The twist was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very atmospheric slow burn, very kind of claustrophobic if you're,
Uh,
if you if like being lost in the not lost, but like being stuck in a building in the middle of nowhere with no electricity and no cell service is kind of like a thing for you.
hmm
um, but okay, so as far that so that's like new though. That came out I think 2019 or new-ish. But as far as like every year Christmas movies,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
gotta be Gremlins. Gotta watch
Yeah.
Gremlins.
Yeah. Gremlins is a classic.
Yep.
Shit. What was the? So there's one that I've added to my list in the past 10 years, and that's called Dead End. This is, I mentioned this
And
one at some point this year. I don't remember when or why.
hmm.
But Dead End is like a family is going to grandma's house through the woods for Christmas dinner, and the drive gets interesting. And it's like a little family drama, and it stars Leland from Twin Peaks. That might ring a bell as far as descriptor.
Oh, yeah.
It's fun and it's not very long. It's just a good tight
Yeah.
small movie. So there's that, and then newer edition. I think I might rewatch the Advent Calendar.
Oh, that was
Maybe
so good.
it was very entertaining, unique new story, and so we'll see.
Yeah.
Outside of that, yeah, I'm with you on Gremlins, and you know, Batman Returns is a good, not horror necessarily, but Christmas
Sure. Christmas
related.
movie. What else? There has to be like a. Yeah, I guess it's just the Krampus movies because I really loved um Christmas Horror Story.
Oh yeah,
I guess Jack Frost. I do watch Jack Frost every once in a while,
yeah,
just for fun. It's like a terrible movie. Um,
yeah. No, I'm not a big fan of it. But I understand that it's a thing.
yeah, yeah. Um, okay, all right. So I'll mention Black Christmas, and I'm not talking about the newer one. I'm talking about the original, 1979, starring Margot Kidder. I think I brought this up last week that I watched half of it before we came
Yeah.
in for the episode, actually, and it was really good. Um, I haven't gone back to finish it, um, but I really, really enjoyed the first half. It has a really nice, like Michael Myers Halloween, original Halloween vibe to it, and and it's like unique enough to where I also feel like I haven't seen it before, and
Hmm.
the characters are interesting. The dialogue is good. Like this is a late 70s movie that has that feel to it, but also I don't know. I think this movie um, kicked it up a notch, like 80s style with the kills, whereas it's less of cutaways, and the it was like the beginning of some good practical blood effects, or just trying to get a little more graphic with the kills. At least the two kills that I saw in the first like half hour there. So just for Margot Kidder's sake, go check out the original Black Christmas.
Yeah, the only other one that was recent that I'd mentioned would be like Better Watch Out. I was just double checking a list and I forgot about that one. That one's somewhat entertaining. Takes part during Christmas time. Did you see that one? It's like 2017, I think.
No, I don't think I did. Better watch out.
Yeah, there's like kids are being babysat and stuff happens. And there's sort of twists with who is doing what. And it's good, sort of like a survival in their house count and mouse type thing
Oh, cool.
situation during Christmas time.
All
Yeah,
right.
it's entertaining.
Very
So,
nice.
with that being said, then, with what we know and like, you want to preview a couple that might be coming up down our pipeline that we'll be reviewing possibly in the next month?
Yes, absolutely. So we'll do the Christmas ones first, and then we'll just go off with the other ones, right?
Sure.
Uh, so not quite in the horror wheelhouse, but we both really want to see this movie, and if if it's close enough, we might just do a review of it, right? Violent Night with David Harbour. Yeah, like
Did you
this.
say not quite Christmas?
No, not quite horror.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I was like, wait, what? Isn't it like about fucking Santa Claus? It might be more like actiony. You mean?
Yeah, yeah, I think it's gonna be
Yeah,
like an action comedy, but you know, eh, if we can't find a movie, maybe we'll just fill it in.
sure.
Then we have Christmas Bloody Christmas, which I know nothing about. Um, have you looked that up, or did we just find it on a list somewhere?
No, I just know that it's gonna be coming out on the 9th on Shudder, I believe. And it just has sort of like a Santa-esque type person with glowy green eyes looking evil, like he's gonna kill people
Yep.
instead of give them presents.
Santa embarks on a rampant killing spree through the neon-drenched snowscape.
Ooh, neon
Yeah.
drenched. Okay, well, so that's not a. You can't just say the neon drenched snowscape as if that's a normal sentence.
Well,
Like
that's
that's.
from it's from the you know, the genius that wrote the IMDb
Yeah, I know, and
synopsis.
I'm just saying, like, so, like, because Christmas lights aren't ever described as neon. When you're talking about neon, you're talking about Times Square or the Vegas Strip. Uh,
Yeah, I don't
so
know. Well,
just saying, Christmas lights are typically incandescents or LEDs nowadays,
yeah, this is
not
from
ever neon.
this is from Joe Bagos, the guy who did Bliss and
Oh,
VFW.
I love Bagos.
Me too. Uh, all right, and did you say The Leech was also a Christmas movie?
Yes, The Leech
Yes,
is
from
starring the one and only Mr. Jeremy Gardner,
Jeremy Gardner.
the undeniable lead of The Battery, although he's kind of co-leading that with another guy.
Yeah,
And After Midnight, which we talked about earlier in the year as a good rom-com type Valentine's Day horror genre blend treat. Yeah, no, Jeremy Gardner is just fantastic in the films that he's in. He definitely plays a certain type or has a certain look, but he's very sincere in the delivery of his lines and in his acting. It seems like an actual character, an actual human being that's being captured on film, as opposed to a guy playing a certain character. It seems genuine and heartfelt with what he does, and so this one I think is going to be more of like an insanity type uh, crazy person role, where he's like all feraled out, like he is known to do with his beard and whatnot. So we'll see. Uh, but I expect a lot because he's just kind of fun and fantastic, and most of the projects he attaches himself to are really beautiful indie uh like powerhouses. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, we definitely want to check out the Leech. Other than that, coming up, we've got a menu, Nanny, Bones and All, Play Dead, The Apology. These are all question marks on the list.
Mhm.
We only have 5 episodes before the big finale. Um, so some of them are going to have to be passed on, but hopefully we make the right picks over the coming weeks.
Yeah, we'll see. If we get some more snowstorms and get called to stay home and not go to work necessarily. We each kind of have jobs where we kind of need to work, even if we aren't supposed to be working. But it might afford us some time. It's winter, most time you're not distracted and going out to do stuff. You're kind of staying in, and it kind of lends itself to catching up on some TV time. And
Oh,
so we'll see. We might fit more in than we anticipate.
yeah, it's true. It's true. Maybe we'll get them all. Hopefully they all come to streaming, so we don't have to go to the theater for them all. I mean,
Yeah, there's a couple that
I
just dropped.
I want to watch Violent Night in theater. Definitely.
It would be so weird to see in the theater. Like it just seems like such an odd premise of a movie to watch in a theater, you know. I imagine it would be similar to how people felt going into Terrifier 2, which I never would have done, but didn't really have the chance to because it wasn't in a local theater.
Right.
Praise be God.
It wasn't that bad. Um,
I still haven't finished it. I just I don't have any desire to.
it could have just been like 30 minutes shorter. Like making that movie
Sure.
shorter makes it better. Take some of
Well,
the unnecessary story, take it out, and just
most
make
of what
it
I saw was unnecessary filler type stuff that didn't
yeah,
really.
just make the movie all hits all the way to the end.
Yeah.
whatchamacallit, J.J. Abrams that shit and push it out.
Oh, it's funny that we're mentioning it because I'm pretty sure like right now they're doing a Twitter watch party that
Of Terrifier 2?
someone, yeah, that Bloody Gut Disgusting is hosting uh with all the people.
It's hard not
They
to,
just get there.
it would be hard not to fall asleep. The movie's too long, and there's too many like long scenes that are nonsensical and have no action that you're just stuck watching. That fucking dream sequence, that's like 15 minutes long.
It is, yeah, and it
It has
ends with
no bearing on the movie at all.
and it turns in yeah, it means nothing other than she had a dream about him, I guess, and so like that signifies something, and I guess
It,
that she wakes up from it and the fire happens and she gets the sword, right? Which
it
is important.
no, no. The dream is way earlier than that. It has nothing to do with the sword. The dream
No, but
sequence.
but I'm just saying, but no, I know,
Oh,
but she like looks at the sword after
it,
the dream because the wings
yeah,
catch
right,
fire,
right,
and so
right.
like that does
Yeah.
something I think to the sword, or like it triggers something inside her, maybe.
So they tease through the whole movie that Terrifier is their father, the two leads, um, brother and sister lead, and the dream is one of those like psychic connection to the father kind of things because the brother has it because he's got the waking dreams
Yeah,
of Terrifier or of Art and Art's new sidekick, right? And that makes no sense for either of those things to be happening unless there's some kind of connection. Well, guess what? There's not. Or if there is, they don't tell you. It is
and it doesn't matter. It's just
it,
like it's gonna look cool. It doesn't have to make sense.
yeah.
It's just cool, and it's so fucking annoying when that kind of stuff exists in movies. Uh, I like it when it's done right. For whatever reason, this just doesn't look like it's done right. From what I've saw so far.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Have fun with your watch party, you fucking losers.
It was okay. All right. Episode 20 in the bag. Happy holidays to all our viewers. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope you guys have a great week. Travel safe. Um,
Hmm.
spend some well deserved, well needed time at home. It's been a crazy year, I'm sure. For me, I can only assume it's been a crazy year for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it. Uh, I'll get Thursday and then I'll probably go back to work on Friday. And speaking of which, as Black Friday and then Small Business Saturday come up, please support your local gaming stores, any small businesses that are in your store. Something like a Serenity Hobbies type shop. Go on to the Etsy store, go to Alberta Necties,
Yeah, go
purchase yourself some
Alberta Nugget.
teas.
Come on down to
Recently opened
basement.
up the European purchasing. I'm selling stuff to people in Germany and to France and the UK. I don't know how to use their fucking addresses, but I'm figuring it out because they sound and written all weird. It's not normal stuff.
Uh,
Whatever. And yeah, fucking the Basement Media.
Basement Media is
Check
open.
it out.
Check it.
Yeah, support your
It's
local small businesses, guys.
all right. And with that, for the podcast for the recently deceased, I'm Nate Roberts,
I'm Rodney Godek. Take care.
and we'll see you next week.